Hey everyone, today I have an OKSew best bits for you where I take a segment of a longer tutorial and clip it so that you can see the part of that video that I think is most valuable and you can get all of the information without having to watch the full long form video. This clip is taken from the Mini E tutorial and I am showing you how to ease a gusset loop around the main panel of your bag. Mark the centers of your two lining panels, center top and center bottom. Take your lining gusset circle and mark the center at the top and the bottom by lining up the lower edge of your center zipper panel and folding the loop in half. At the bottom, I'm going to mark both sides of that circle. Take a lining piece and you're going to match up the center of your lining piece at the top with the center of the lining gusset. Not that way. You want to do it right sides together. Clip at the top. Make sure that it is smooth and flat. Clip it at the bottom and then clip it all the way around. And I put little tiny snips in this gusset loop to help that ease around the curves on my lining panel. When you're clipping your gusset on, if you find that when you come to any part and it looks like there's a lot more material in your lining panel than in your gusset, you can just ease that around the entire length of your gusset. Keeping your centers lined up, but if you start in the center and then you can just work that excess around, and if you sew with your lining panel down, then the feed dogs can help work that in throughout the length of your gusset circle. But if you come to your corners where you've made your little snips to help it ease, you can usually just pull that out and fan out the snips, and then you can get that extra to ease in to the length of your gusset. We're going to be sewing this at 1/2 inch. So it can feel like the gusset is a little tight for the exterior, because where we will be sewing is quite a bit smaller in total length. If you were to draw a line 1/2 inch in here, that would be a shorter line than if you were to draw one around the entire outside, because it's 1/2 inch further in. So that's why you're going to have the excess at the outside that you won't have when you sew it at that 1/2 inch, because the gusset is shorter. The length of the gusset that was cut as a straight piece, this is this line in here. It is shorter, so you just have to fan it out. It feels tight because it is tight, but it needs to be tight because we're sewing here. But we'll just work it in as we go. And take that over to the sewing machine. I'm going to be sewing with my lining side down so that I can make sure that my gusset is staying all the way up to the edge. I'm going to use pliers if I need to pull that fabric out so that it meets the edge at the curves, sewing at 1/2 inch for my seam allowance, using a shorter stitch length and going all the way around. Starting at one straight side, I like the bottom because there is a nice big area where it's nice and straight. Set your seam allowance, double check it with a ruler. You can use a narrow foot if you find that easier. Back stitch at the beginning, and sew all the way around to meet back up with our starting point. Considerations when you come up to the corner are making sure that the gusset, which is the straight shorter piece, is pulled right out at the corner. And if you get a little fold here, you can just flatten it out as you come to it. So take it nice and slowly around the corner to get the best results. When you come up to where your zipper is at the top here, it does get a little trickier to get past it. And that's why there's the suggestion to use your zipper foot. If you've used a regular foot like I have, you can always switch it out. Actually, I'm going to do that just to make sure that I'm getting past that zipper properly. You can fold the zipper teeth out a little to keep them out of the way, but it is sewn here, so you can't get a ton of clearance. So if you have a narrow foot, you may find that that is a good option for you. Just back stitching again because I've changed down my presser foot there. And keeping the zipper teeth out of the way under here, just pulling them out of the way. And at the same time, it's always a lot of things going on at the same time, holding that gusset close to the edge of the lining panel. You can see that my center markings are still lined up, so I know that I'm on the right track. Continue to fold that zipper out of the way as I come up to this other curve, and we'll do the same thing, pulling the gusset out to meet the edge of our lining panel. Once you've sewn that lining to the gusset, have a look at your stitches and make sure that you're happy with how smooth they are. And if there's any areas that your seam allowance has become inconsistent or there's any little bumps, you can correct those. And also check when you look at your gusset itself that there's not too many wrinkles, and that when you smooth out the curves, it sits nicely and it's not caught or bunched up too badly in any places. Once you're happy, you can trim back that seam allowance. I'm going to use my pinking shears, and I am not going to trim where I have joined my gusset together, just to keep that as secure as possible. Once you've trimmed back that seam allowance, take your other lining panel and you're going to clip it in place the same way, matching up the center top and the center bottom, snipping into the gusset around the corners just about 1/4 inch, so it will stay within your 1/2 inch seam allowance, continuing to ease and clip that the whole way around, and then sew that on your sewing machine again at 1/2 inch. I recommend just starting with the narrow foot this time, and then sew with the main lining panel down, and that will help you to ease in that extra material around the full length of your gusset. I will have a link to the full tutorial in the description if you want to watch the rest of the tutorial for this bag pattern. Hope that helps. Thanks, everyone.